airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you, or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector.
In 2012, we started working with the Total E&P until 2019, where we worked on the replacement houses, and we delivered 30 houses for the people who were being relocated from the industrial area. We are also working with the Total Energies on over 10 kilometers of roads that we are undertaking. There's a ripple effect. We are getting the services of labor within the communities, materials. Total Energies has been of great assistance to our development. We've expanded our plant and equipment, we've developed our human resources, and we've also improved our management skills.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
3 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., you're watching Good Morning Uganda Newsreel. Thank you for joining us once again. My name is Philomena Mastiko, and I'm joined by Robert Kirabo. Maybe before we get into the topical discussion this morning, I take it upon myself to remind you of the poll question that is happening, and that is, what are your new expectations from the RDCs and the RCs that have been recently reshuffled? What are your new expectations from the RCCs and the RDCs that have been newly reshuffled? Of course, you can use the hashtag UBCGMU, and you can also send us an SMS text or even send us a WhatsApp message. The number is 0709-602-592, and of course we'll be sharing your feedback with the rest of the world as Good Morning Uganda still happens. Now, getting into the topical discussion, Robert, earlier on, as we started off just a couple minutes ago, we did talk about the recommendation that was made by the top organ of NRM, and that is the Central Executive Committee, where they did come out to recommend the Deputy Speaker of Parliament to run for, actually to represent NRM for in the race of the speakership, you know, to replace the late Honorable Jacob Olanya, and that is Anita Among. Now, we understand clearly that today the NEC, which is the National Executive Committee, will be sitting to actually endorse to see if she has what it takes, yes, to be able to run this position fully on 100%. Well, just to ask you, just to get, you know, to pick your brain, how do you think this stands for her? Do you actually think she stands the chance of being endorsed by NEC?
Thank you very much, Philo. One, record has had it.
Yes.
History has had it. That when it comes to NRM, the decision of the NEC have always, the decisions of SEC, the Central Executive Committee, have always been respected. That even where an individual wanted to move away from that, still NRM has gotten victory. So it is precedented. You know, SEC is the top policy organ of this party.
Yes.
And that is where you have the vice, there you have the chairman of the party, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. You have the regional chairpersons of these various regions under the NRM. So when these meet and recommend, because what they do is recommend. They don't endorse.
Yes.
SEC recommends to NEC. Then what NEC does, it endorses that person as the flag bearer of the party. Now when it comes to this, for that speakership race. So they'll vet the many that come. Now they'll say, but among these we recommend so and so. They can even sometimes recommend to people for some positions. Then there will be a voting under NEC. So what happened yesterday, they had 12 candidates. Yes. Because Dr. Jane Ruth Achen withdrew her interest.
She did, yes, she withdrew her interest.
Then we had Honorable Sarah Opendi, who did not turn up for that interaction. So that meant that now they met these other remaining in number. So 13 minus 2, because Jane Ruth Achen is not there, Sarah Opendi is not there. She didn't withdraw her interest. But we are told, according to the statement that was issued, that she never turned up. So after meeting, discussing, and of course one would say, for us, we don't know what happens there.
We were just there to see what will come out of
because
what
this is a closed session.
Absolutely.
For these people. But there's so much that happens behind the doors. We've seen sometimes one can even be told, step down here, then there's this other offer.
Yes.
We are told, and sometimes we've seen that happen, that maybe someone says, let me show interest, because here I'm going to meet the chairman of the party, definitely. So it gives you, sometimes you can look for him and it's hard to find. So if you're one of the candidates and you're called in by SEC, because NRM, SEC does not dictate. They tell us that it's consultative. Philo, we all come.
There is quite a panel of people
they
that
tell
they
you
get
know what?
their answers from. Yes.
You're one of the candidates, but considering this and that, we hope or we pray or we, gentlemen's agreement that you step down, you leave this, we are going to select so and so.
Yes.
Someone can have a bargaining heart and says, but maybe for this, if at least, then maybe that can be considered. But just some of the way diplomacy is handled at SEC. For Anita Mongi, one of the reasons that came out clearly, they said first and foremost, NRM has had a culture and a practice of elevating the deputy speaker. That is why you see Rebecca Kadaga, how she moved through 10 years.
And they actually have that time frame of about 10 years.
10 years. You have your first term, your second term, then you move to speakership.
Yes.
We saw it when it came to Jacob Olanya as well. Kadaga had the 10 years. And she also used that in bargaining. We are told when she met SEC by then.
Yes.
Jacob Olanya, before this election that saw him as a speaker, the guy said, no, let me have my 10 years. Olanya, be patient after I complete my 10 years. However, whatever happened thereafter,
we cannot explain.
Tell why. Then she had retracted on her statement. So when we look at the chain of how they have been doing things, and it's precedented, that puts Amongi to a better position. And why I would say this was the right choice. First and foremost, experience is vital.
Absolutely, because actually that was bringing me to the next, bit of questioning or discussion, because some would actually say, well, Amongi, yes, she did run it for quite a short while, but it's not a given, it's not mandatory that she can actually execute the duties and responsibilities. And this is why I actually would really beg to differ. She even if she has not run it for close to a year, she's quite done better than other people who haven't been in that seat, they haven't been in that position. Like just bringing to the point you're talking about experience.
Because when you look at how they decide that a person for 10 years, you've garnered experience. But now this is a time of an emergency.
Absolutely.
And at this time of an emergency, Amongi has been running parliament as the speaker. Remember, Jacob Olanya's tenure has been for about 9 months. But even these 9 months, we've had so many sittings chaired by the deputy speaker. She has been manning parliament for some time because the deceased had issues with health. He was on and off. You remember when he came, chaired a few sittings. I think there could be about 5, if so many of them. So Amongi has been in this position. Even when we look at qualifications, she's a lawyer. She has a legal background into that. She has been a member of parliament for some time. So she has been in parliament. She's one of the few, by the way, Philo, that came to parliament unopposed.
Yes, which actually says much about
Yes, she came to parliament unopposed from her constituency on NRM ticket. So to me, this is a person who has knowledge of the House. This is a person who has practiced and handled the House for some time. And this is a person that even when it came to the deputy speakership race, when she was running for this, you look at the votes she was able to garner. We had her get 415 votes.
Yes.
We had Muhammad Nsereko, who previously had proved a problem with Jacob Olanya. Now he are getting 24 votes. We had Yusufu Nsibambi, who got 35 votes. So I want to believe that she still has grip of the House.
Yes.
Look at what has just happened. The censorship of Zake from Commissioner of Parliament. One thing that comes clear is it is not Anita Amongi who pushed this. It was another MP who said, this is ill, this is not something we can recommend.
Yes.
But still, members of Parliament felt that this was demeaning, this was humiliating, that even when it came to voting, they voted in respect of the House, but saw the personality of this Deputy Speaker by then, who also still now remains, but at least is the candidate now we are sure of, for the ruling party. So you see that she has control of the House.
Yes.
When you talk to a number of members of Parliament, they'll tell you that she kind of has that motherish, she's involved not only in legislative work, but also many have been helped here and there. So she has grip of the House, and that is what you need. And loyalty to the party.
Of course, it really comes in handy.
Yeah,
loyalty to any party, by the way, whether it's opposition, whether it's the ruling party. No one wants to actually have a member of parliament who they're not certain, very unpredictable. You know, 1 minute this man or this woman can actually switch or do something that is against the beliefs of the party. So I think she really does stand some points over there when it comes to loyalty.
So for me, when I look at those those factors, I see that this is the right person. We wait for NEC's decision today, and then come Friday. But unless, I want to say, unless it rains soda or a camel goes through the eye of the needle, it is, for me, it is a deal done for Anita Amongi as Speaker of the 11th Parliament.
Oh, well, now, of course, during this speakership race, Robert, there are very many sentiments that have come out to play. Yesterday, while I was watching news, of course, there are some hard statements that were made by the government chief, that is Thomas Tayewa. And this, of course, is in concern with this specific position. Now, we know that the late Honorable Jacob Olanya, of course, was from the north. And there was quite a number of members of parliament who actually did go on and wanted this position to actually be ring-fenced by, you know, they were urging His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to ring-fence this position and keep it especially for the people from the north. And of course, this comes after a backdrop of quite a number of these MPs and legislators, especially from the Acholi, Lango and West Nile Parliamentary Caucus. And they did say, look, this is just not right. Maybe we need to keep this position of speakership for the member of parliament. And of course, Thomas Tayewa, in his response to this, he was saying, well, they can go to hell. These are the words that he did use. But imagine a situation like that, Robert, where we did have to ring-fence certain positions for certain tribes. What would that actually mean for the political, environment of Uganda?
First, I sympathize with the people of northern Uganda, the Acholi, West Nile, and Langi, because this was their first opportunity.
Absolutely.
To have a person of this stature in the rankings of government, to have a speaker, because you either have a president, you have a vice president, you have a prime minister, you have a speaker.
Yes.
And when you look at the three arms of government, so this is the first time that they had someone to this. And of course, we all know proximity to power, if you have the right person there with a good heart, the region benefits. And one of the evidence we can talk about is when nodding disease was at its helm in northern Uganda.
Yes.
Jacob Olanya, coming from the region, knowing these are my people, pushed for supplementary budget of about 1.3 billion. And of course, we are Africans, even in the United States of America, everywhere. The more you're closer, the people around you stand to have some benefits.
Yes.
This may have issues to what extent, but it's just normal and common sense. So for the people of northern Uganda, yes, they lose out when the speaker is not coming from their area. There's some extent, some of the privileges, some of the, and, you know, getting problems to the table where kings and queens feast becomes a challenge. But we must also think and see things very well. Jacob Oulanyah never became a Speaker of Parliament because he comes from northern Uganda. It was all about hard work. It was all about his demeanor and his quality and character as a person.
And the credibility and even integrity.
Because this is a man, he studied law, worked for some time. We look at his profile, then he became a member of parliament once UPC, then he goes to NRM and is risen through the ranks, not as a person from northern Uganda, as anybody else. When it comes to standing for deputy, then speakership, not as a person of northern Uganda. And when we go to our laws, the requirement for one to become a speaker is simple.
Yes.
A member of parliament, any member of parliament can stand. So, ring fencing may mean that maybe these people do not have the ability. It was there, they said they had representatives.
Yes.
And SEC had to look through, not just to consider that we need a person from northern Uganda. Because a speakership position for any party is very important. Very important. That parliament, you see, if you have a speaker who is not in favor or who is not loyal to you, anything can happen, including the worst, being impeachment of a president. So, SEC had critically to look into the names. We had people who were coming from northern Uganda, and they were not seen as the best candidates for this position. So, Uganda would not take positions basing on tribalism or basing on our tribes. We take basing on ability, and now when it comes to politics, we look at also what do you bring to the table.
Yes.
We look at also how loyal are you to the table. So I sympathize. I feel that of northern Uganda, this was their first opportunity. The term wasn't completed, but that is not legally in our legal books. This is not a position of inheritance that we can take over by that. The good news is they have not lost it all. Why do I say they have not lost it all? Now this seat has become vacant.
Yes.
And by our laws, a person from Ankole cannot stand for Moro County. You cannot. So the constitution now favors them that they can choose within the family members to have a replacement of Jacob Oulanyah as a member of parliament, because that is designated, it is ring-fenced for them, that when he dies, still is a person, a son of the soil, that has to take over that. So let them ensure they have that person. And with patience, who knows? Today we have Dr. I think Charles Ayume, son of the late speaker, you know, Francis Ayume. So maybe the Oulanyah family, the people from northern Uganda, can have a replacement who can rise, who knows, and later you can have a deputy and a speaker replacing Oulanyah some years to come. Life is there.
Well, we are yet to see. We're just a couple of hours away to actually know who is going to be the final speaker of the 11th Parliament of Uganda, of course, replacing the late Honorable Jacob Oulanyah. And also just to remind you, our poll question is still up and running, and that is, what are your new expectations from the RDCs and the RCs that have been recently reshuffled by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, which actually brings us to the next topical discussion. Now, we know that the office especially the office of the resident city commissioner, that is the RCC office, very many people have had their questions as to why it is in existence. We know very many people have wanted it to be gotten rid of. But maybe just to take us through, what are some of the responsibilities that are handled under this office, Robert?
Well, first we must understand that this is an office that is in our constitution.
Yes.
Its establishment is constitutional. Then there are clear rules, and they're not so many. However, you can break them differently.
Yes.
But I want to look at the basic 4 or 5 under this office, and these are simple. One, if you look at the office of the RDs, of the RCC, very clearly is to monitor, supervise the implementation of government programs.
Yes.
At local government, to ensure that they push for these at all times. Now, why we've had this argument is because many people believe there's duplication. of work.
Between the RDCs and the
And other
RCs,
offices
they're
that
all
are
doing,
there.
yes.
Because you find that, for example, these people head the District Security Committee. And one would say, okay, if they're heading the District Security Committee, then what is the work of the DPC? District Police Commander is also there. When we look at implementation, you have, even if it is promoting accountability, you know, because you monitor, you have the cow. The chief administrative officer.
Yes.
So every bit of what they bring as role of RDC in the structures of local government, there is somebody to do that. And that is why many have looked at this office as a political office. And some of them, much as they're supposed to be non-partisan in execution of their duties, they are most of the times tempted to come out and be partisan. You get it?
Yes.
Because much as they should be seen as not political office, but they are appointed politically. And that is why you find that most of the times RDC's office has been seen either doing things that somebody else can do.
Yes.
We've had sometimes contradictions, or they have found it very hard when it comes to politicking times. And I'll give an example. We have an RDC, the one who has been the RDC of Kampala. Remember during the RDC campaigns when he was in Kawempe? The statement he made. One believes maybe it pleased somehow, and that's why he became RCC. He was very clear, coming out and saying, for me in my area, I'm not going to see candidates so and so. I will not allow him. Under which powers? That is a statement he made.
Yes.
We've seen many of them even having posters of certain candidates on their vehicles, facilitating this, which lawfully could be wrong.
Yes.
But just to look at clearly there, one, you find out that the RDC, there are the chairpersons of the district security committees. That is by law. In addition to that, when you look at Article 71 of the Local Government Act, that is 1997, you find that the function of the resident district commissioner will represent the president and the government services in the district. So they are representatives of the president,
yes,
but they make sure that assignments he gives to them and also what government does, they should honor. But also, they advise, that is the district chairpersons, on various issues. So this is a very sensitive office, if at all it perfected its role. That is why recently the president, when it came to land issues, he looked at the district security committee and said, now, where these evictions happen, lawful evictions are carried out, I will hold the district security committee responsible except the UPDF representative. So if you're representing the president, you have assignments that can come from the president, you have those that are lawfully provided. The only problem has been conflict of interest, where sometimes they are taken into partisan politics, and at some times we've seen some of these RDCs also have issues in places, elements of corruption, elements of bias at the same time. All these are what we see this office sometimes in one way or the other, not perfecting the art of what they should be doing. So basically, one would say, are they doing a great work?
Yes.
Is there duplication? That is something we should look out for. Is this office still relevant today? The expenses spent on these people, the security detail, the vehicles they drive, and all this, are we as Ugandans getting value for money? Or should we step up other offices that are doing work similar to this and then don't have this office?
Oh, well, we are yet to actually see what the newly reshuffled RCCs and RDCs will be able to deliver in the respective areas where they have been, placed. However, I did also tell you earlier on that the Dubai Expo 2020 ICT Innovation Week is actually going on, and we are currently in the last week. And of course, we know that Uganda, it's quite a major deal for us to be part of expos like this, because already we have set set out to market ourselves as the Africa's innovation powerhouse at this exclusively ongoing Dubai Expo 2020 Innovation Week. And of course, the theme on display is basically span from health, future, economy, and utilizing data and technology for good. Now, we do have quite representatives over there who are actually seeing what is happening, what is ongoing, and definitely we would also want to know what Uganda is showcasing at this given expo. And we also need to have a feel around the expo. Right about now, we're going to have and see what the permanent secretary from the Ministry of ICT has to tell us the things that we have achieved Uganda. Where are we at actually managing to achieve our goals, especially set for this expo? Let's have a look at that.
Uganda as the innovation powerhouse for Africa. This week we are showcasing Uganda's potential for attracting investment in ICT. What we have in ICT and other innovations, because Uganda is not only known for ICT but tourism, agriculture, education. We have a lot to showcase. The country, we have a number of our youth, 70% are youths and largely unemployed, but they have enough skills to attract employment while working in our country, but working for companies abroad. So all this is being done to, speak to the people. I think you have seen a number of people visiting our pavilion. And with that, we hope that at the end of this week, or at the end of the expo, which has run for 6 months from 1st October till 31st March, we are going to attract potential investment in infrastructure scale-up. We already have a potential investor who is going to support us on setting up a data center, because we need to improve our infrastructure, we need to improve our skill sets, we need to improve employment, we need to also invest in research and development to grow our country. We had a meeting. We have actually arranged a number of meetings. Some of them are business-to-business meetings, so our innovators here meeting up with other companies, those are business-to-business. We have government-to-business meetings, and that is one of them that we have had this morning. We also have government-to-government meetings. We are going to meet, I think, the Ministry of Artificial Intelligence sometime during the week to discuss how we can collaborate and work together to support our innovation ecosystem. The meeting with the MasterCard this morning was, first of all, if I give you an overview of what MasterCard is one of those companies that is recognized by, for payment platforms by 150 countries globally. And for all our innovations to bear fruit, we have to have a complete cycle from start to finish, having all transactions conducted online. And many of these innovations have a payment process attached to them. When you look at Sente, they are serving people and through payments online. When we are doing payments, there's so many things that come along with it. Someone has to trust the platform. Someone has to ensure that the platform is secure, it is efficient, it is simple to use, and all that. So many of us are using Visa, Visa cards, but MasterCard is also one form of payment that we have. So being that it's globally accepted by these many countries, and we are going out to the world to sell ourselves, MasterCard is one of those partners we have to bring on board for our partners to, first of all, build trust in the business that we are going to do with them, and also ascertain the security of transactions that we have. Currently, the government is through His Excellency, the President of Uganda, is implementing the parish development model. In this parish development model, a lot of money is going to be invested into circles to help support improvement of household incomes through agriculture. But what does this mean? Government has to track the investment that it has made in these circles. How is it moving? Who is doing what? Basically, we have to ride on a lot of data to inform government's planning going forward and whether the project is successful or not. So we have been discussing the potential of MasterCard working with us, especially in line with, payments and a lot of transactions that we have to do, understanding our household owners to the level of each individual person. What do they do? What are they interested in? What do they invest in? What we see currently is that many of our people use mobile money, but the transactions for mobile money are done to send money from one person to the other. When it comes to payment, people fall off the platform. And they go to withdraw money to go and buy a bar of soap, to go and buy sugar, and we lose that data. So what happens is that we don't know. We know, yes, there is this much money in the economy, what it is used for, how it is used, who is using it, the kind of behavior set up around it, around this money, we do not know. So government cannot plan beyond the money it has injected in the economy. But now MasterCard has a number of solutions that leverage on artificial intelligence to give us or to get us this information. If, for example, we are promoting tourism, when our tourists come into the country, maybe we know where they go and how long they spend, but what they spend their money on, who is in the chain of that money going forward to help the country to the last citizen, we are not aware of. So these are the kind of solutions we want to use so that we get solutions that talk to individuals. Today, the world is going towards knowing your customer, knowing your citizen, knowing your person that you deal with. So that is a conversation we have had this morning with MasterCard to identify areas of potential collaboration that will help us have a system that is working cashless from end to end, and being able to understand and plan for our people based on the data, massive data that is accumulated through the analyzing the transactions that are done online. Themes for the Expo, there is the opportunity theme, we have the sustainability theme and mobility theme. In the opportunity theme where Uganda is participating, each country is showcasing opportunities the country has to attract investors or investment and collaboration. We have Saudi Arabia also in the opportunity theme. So we are going to look at how we can leverage on those countries that have set the bar high, which we call in academia, they have the state of the art where we want, ideally where we want to be. Then we have the countries that are in our same spaces. We have Kenya, we have Nigeria, and so on. So we are looking out for what is it that they have done that we can work together on, because in the digital transformation world, Uganda cannot work alone, but has to work in partnership with other countries, with other companies, with other individuals. So first of all, we are attracting potential collaborators. The other thing is that we are learning. The next time we have an expo, we have to show progress from where we are today, and based on the lessons learned, where we'll be tomorrow. And how we can improve the life of the normal the wananchi of our country, leveraging on technology, because that is what every country is showcasing. The world is going digital. They are showcasing all the potential that countries have by leveraging on technology. And so why Uganda cannot stay behind. If we stay behind, we'll be in the stone age of digital transformation, and we don't want to head there. So that is where we are.
For the Ministry of ICT, who is also part of the delegation that is at this Dubai Expo ICT 2020, of course, representing Uganda. But also part of the delegation is UBC's Samuel Seneno, who is actually in there right now, and he's going to be joining us on Zoom live. And of course, definitely we would be wanting to know what's happening here. What is Uganda showcasing over there? How are we positioning ourselves? How far have we gone? And considering that this is the last week of this expo, it really means quite a lot, because this is an expo that is attended by quite a number of other people who are coming to showcase, but also other people who are coming to see what Uganda is selling out as a country, and very many other countries. And this is a big deal for us, because if we are trying to position ourselves as a country that is definitely an innovation powerhouse, well, it means quite a lot. Well, thank you for joining us, Samuel. Good morning. Well, I understand that this expo is actually in the last week, and of course Uganda is being represented well. But we would also love to know, what is Uganda currently showcasing?
Uganda has a team of 5 innovators. I sent a team of 5 innovators, and this was selected after a thorough process. And their innovations span from health, saving data, and can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Great, because earlier I was getting information that I wasn't being well, like I was saying, Uganda sent a team of 5 innovators to this expo, the ICT Expo, the Innovation Week. This expo has had themes throughout the 6 months it has been going on. They've had things to do with investment, they've had things to do with agriculture, and currently we are into the theme of innovation. And different countries are showcasing what they have with regards to their technology and innovation. What advances have they reached at? And Uganda is no different. Uganda sent a strong team. These are young innovators who have made groundbreaking startups, and they want to show them to the world. This is a team of 5. There is one who has designed a mobile app which helps mothers, which help helping mothers. There is another one who is adding value onto the shea nut tree, which is endemic to Africa. And in Uganda here, you can only find it in northern Uganda. There is also one who is trying to introduce the cashless way of transacting. And there is another one, Bade, who at the height of the pandemic last year, he developed a touchless hand washing machine. And this washing machine, it captures your data and it talks to you while you're using it. So these are the innovations that Uganda. There is also another one who is into business processing outsourcing, known as BPO. BPO, if I may demystify it for the viewers out there, BPO, business processing outsourcing, and also it's top on the agenda. The Ugandan delegation here wants to position Uganda as the innovation powerhouse, but still also as the destination for business processing outsourcing. By business processing outsourcing, say for example, if I may give you an example, a telecom company can be based in Cleveland, Ohio, that's in the USA, but then have its customer care center located here in Uganda and manned by Uganda. We can have tax firms in the USA having their services done by Ugandans. Previously, such opportunities were going to West Africa, were going to India, but then the Ugandan delegation were earlier interacting with the Ugandan delegation, and they're saying the time is now. They want to position Uganda and to the rest of the world, to the rest of the IT world, that we are open for BPO, and this is Uganda's value proposition. They're saying Uganda's value proposition is that they have a young country, with many youths in there. We have the internet connectivity, the education. They're saying Ugandans have a flat accent. So these are, it's like Uganda stands a chance of leveraging on most of these services previously, which were being handled by other countries. Philomena.
It's quite interesting and good news. We could actually use Uganda as a country, but also just to get a full picture of the prospects. How are they standing for Uganda as a country? What are the prospects?
Many business meetings have been lined up. You had the PS earlier telling us, and many business meetings have been lined up. Now, say, for example, a meeting with the Mastercard Foundation. Mastercard, these are a leading financial, they are leading in that financial sector when it comes to cashless transactions. And they had a session with the Ugandan delegation. Uganda wants to partner with Mastercard because we cannot just go diving into the deep end of the pool. We have to start from somewhere. And what is happening right now is business meetings are ongoing. They are presenting Team Uganda's proposition and how they're looking for the strategic partnerships. Already some investors are lined up into the data centers in Uganda. So the prospects are, and today the Ugandan team is meeting the Ministry of Artificial Intelligence from Saudi Arabia. The Ugandan team is also meeting Abacus. These are big tech firms. And They are, promoting Uganda. The team will be promoting Uganda during those meetings. The team will be luring potential investors in the ICT sector to come and think of Uganda. And this is the opportunity because it's something like over 200 countries are here. Over 200 countries are showcasing at the Dubai Expo 2020, and this is the time. All the big techs, they are here. So Team Uganda has meetings lined up. I was earlier talking to the PS, and she says that they're meeting Abacus. They're meeting Abacus, that's to do with Google and all these other guys. So the prospects are huge for Uganda and the innovators here. It may, in a way, be like a flashpoint incident of showcasing most of their innovations to the rest of the world. And who knows, they can pick potential investors or collaborators in these startups. Philomena?
What's there for a person who is in Uganda? For a person who is in Uganda, how do they catch a feel of what is happening at this expo, considering that it is ending on the 31st of March, nearly after 6 weeks, Samuel? Oh, well, that is Samuel Senono over there, who is in Dubai, and he's been giving us what are the prospects of Uganda, especially at this expo, knowing that over 200 countries are out there showcasing, especially when it comes to ICT. Now, we know that for any country to be able to make a mark in progression and development, ICT, innovation, technology is quite part of the landmarks that we have to look at, because right now where we are living, the world we are in, ICT and technology are very, very important. Well, Samuel, just, as we come to the end of this, we would love to get a feel of what is happening, considering that this expo is ending on the 31st of March, nearly after 6 weeks. How do we get, what's happening? What's the feel like?
I'm sorry, I can't pick you. I don't know whether there is an audio problem, my end or your end.
Oh well, can you get me now, Samuel? Samuel? Oh well, and well, that is Samuel. We'll probably get some of this information much later on, as a Good Morning Uganda still continues. But for now, we'll be taking a look at what is happening in the dailies, and that is, of course, the New Vision, the Daily Monitor, and the Daily Nation. What is making some of the story headlines? And starting off with you, Mollen, what's happening in the paper this morning?
In the paper, we're still talking about mostly, you look at the interim recommending Anita, that is for the position of speakership, that is leading with New Vision right now. And why interim endorsed among for the speakership is all right there in the New Vision for this morning. But also, it is talking about the reshuffle. The list of the new RDCs is all inside. Who are they and where are they going? And also those who have maintained their position, that is all right there in the New Vision. But opposition parties to name candidate today, so we're also waiting on that, but more of that on the story in the New Vision for today. Karamoja murders, how Energy Ministry officials were killed. That is also right there in the New Vision. But also tracing Speaker's friendship with Museveni, that is on the late Honorable Olanya, who is also, they're also explaining much more of tracing the friendship he has had with the president. More in that, also we look at government's new plan to stop traffic accidents. You can get yourself a copy of the New Vision for today.
And in the Daily Nation this morning, we take a look at Decision 2022, and that is Karua joins the fray. And of course, that is after months of wooing. She joins Raila quite interesting take on things over there. And alarm as over 800,000 vaccine doses go to waste. And this is in relation to the COVID-19 that has been hurling at us for the last couple of two years. And it was a global one, even in Kenya over there. And when it comes to showbiz, Sauti Sol is solo and seeking new paths. Popular boy band walks a lonely path. Imagine that. And an election like no other for teachers, civil servants. Well, quite interesting. And they also take a look at the SMEs. Well, that is the Daily Nation. So make sure that you grab yourself the Daily Nation this morning. But also you need to remember that our poll question is running over our Twitter. And that is, what are your new expectations from the RDCs and RCs that have been recently reshuffled? Of course, the hashtag is UBCGMU, and also the WhatsApp number is 0709602592. Remember that is the same number you could actually use to be able to send us an SMS text, and obviously we'll be sharing it with the rest of the world and Uganda, as Good Morning Uganda still goes on. However, when it comes to the traffic updates this morning, we are going to focus majorly on Kampala Central Division. So whether you're trying to access the city center, whether you're trying to leave the city center, or accessing this division, to be very specific, from all your home areas, well, this morning I really want to measure the focus on that, and especially on the inner roads in Kampala here that could have ideally been put to use by you. Now, over here we see the green stretches that are really quite dominant, and some orange stretches which also show that there's quite a traffic buildup. Now, lucky for us, we do have a few spots that are marked red. Now, this red clearly shows that the traffic is really intense. Maybe just to pick it right from here via the Interpol offices, well, you can see that the orange lines are quite dominant over there, and even the red spots over here can really show you that there is quite a traffic buildup. Now, this is the road that you use to join John Babiha Road. John Babiha Road connects you to most city spots, or most roads that really take you to the main road, and that is of course Yusuf Lule Road. We are looking at Nile Avenue. We are looking at all these other roads that lead you to the main road. That is Kampala Road, rather Ginger Kampala Highway, and eventually connecting you to Kampala Road. But yes, over here, as you come through, you can see the green stretch is quite manageable, so you could actually use this as you get to this roundabout. Now, this roundabout, you have two options. Either you could still go on and join the main road, which is the Ginger Kampala Road over here, which is marked, by the way, by quite some red spots and some maroon spots. However, you have an option of using the Nile Avenue over here, which is very clear, crystal clear, if I must say, because the green stretches are really dominant. Now, these green stretches all the way, this green, as indicated here, it connects you all the way to Speak Road. Speak Road will take you straight to City Square. Now, when you are around City Square, it marks that you are actually at the city center. Now, City Square, you can also use that route to join the Kampala Road. Now, however, if you decide to opt and go on with the Kampala Ginger Highway over here, the traffic is quite intense at the start. However, as you go on, it stretches and it takes you straight to Kampala Road. Now, the green stretches are a bit dominant here, so there is nothing to worry for you. And by the way, this works two-way. However, you could also use that the Winton Street over here from Nile Avenue to join the Kampala Road. And the green lines are actually manageable, and it shows you that the traffic over there is flowing, or maybe there is no traffic at all. Now, the Winton Street is actually one of the roads that you could use to avoid the main road, or you could also go all the way and use over the Apollo Kagwa Road over here after Crested Towers. However, if you still insist on using this main road down here, I need you to understand that there's quite some traffic, especially when it comes to access road here. As you can see, the red lines are quite dominant, and they are really red, and the orange line is also intense, especially for the people who are trying to leave the city center and they want to use this road. Of course, down here you could use Mukwano Road. Now, this is the road you could use to access Makinde Division, the areas of Nsambia, and if you're trying to access all these areas. So if you are actually in the city center, center and you're probably stuck, you don't know what ideal shortcut that you could probably use, you have Nile Avenue, you have Apollo Kagwa Road, you have Bombo Road, you have also Nakasera Road. All these shortcuts are really good for you to use, whether you're trying to access the city center. And if you're trying to leave the city center, there is always Buganda Road for as long as you're trying to access those parts of town. That is Wandegea, Kalere, and very many other areas of that side. It's also about the time when I get to connect you to Mollen, who has more to give us concerning the weather forecast for today, and also maybe more in the climate news. Mollen, it's quite humid in the weather. I don't know whether I'm the only one who is feeling it, or it's something that we are bound to feel, considering that the rains these days have been focused on you know, falling on us or coming through during the early morning hours. Is this going to be the trend for maybe the next 2-3 days? How does it look like for us?
Well, I can tell you one thing, we actually are anticipating a pickup of rainy conditions across much of the country. Now, the rains did start off, but that was, you know, only over a few places. And as areas, you know, close to Lake Victoria, we've had that advantage of having rains continuously, the early mornings, the late nights rains, but the rainy season has already kicked in, and now we're seeing more places across the country actually have more of these rains. Now, of course, there's going to be a period where we have dry conditions, obviously, because of the changing systems. But however, I can tell you we're going to have continuous rains for this season, and those have already kicked in. So if you were thinking of, you know, maybe I should have an umbrella close to me, or do I need to buy a new one? I think yes, you need to buy a new one. Those rains are going to come in, and our mornings are going to be filled with that, I can assure you.
Well, you know what that means. Clearly, you need to buy the raincoat if you must, buy that umbrella, buy that sweater, or even buy that car. You know, you would just never know when it comes in handy.
Let people buy land. Let people buy land.
No, not land right now. I leave you to Mollen to give you the weather forecast. I'll be back later.
Well, thank you very much, Philomena. We'll take it off from what transpired from yesterday's celebration of the World Meteorological Day. And this is where the UN actually came in to say they are rolling out early warning systems within 5 years. Now, the UN's World Meteorological Organization has assured us that the world will be in a better place within regard to early warning systems. That means that they are looking at a 5-year period for everyone to be protected. That means they are fueling in a lot of money to make sure that the finances are available for every country to actually turn to early warning systems within 5 years. Now, this is very good news for me, hearing that from such a commitment. I do hope we follow through, because this is the one way that we have been able to even reduce the numbers of people dying from extreme weather events. Now, if we can take much more of that and look into the fact that by warning people earlier, by taking action earlier, we are able to, you know, save lives. And of course, because now at this time, we cannot stop the weather events from happening. What we can do is make sure that when they happen, no one gets to die from this, because obviously there is going to be damage. You look at most of these events, like you're going to have strong winds, you're going to have cyclones, but as they come, obviously they are going to damage trees, they are going to damage housing, they are going to damage a lot of infrastructure. So you can think to rebuild better, but at the same time, we have to make sure that no one is dying from these events. So this is what the UN bodies on climate change and weather information are promising us. They're saying we should be able to have early warning systems within these 5 years, make sure that at least people do not die from these events, even when we cannot control the damage that will come with those, while we're taking climate action, to make sure that we also minimize that, because that is also an important part. Because we might sit here and talk about, okay, what is going to transpire in terms of when we put the systems in place, but how about if the systems are in place, how are we going to make sure that the frequency of these weather events is actually to a minimum standard? And that is how I will be looking more into what the World Meteorological Organization is working on with the UN's Framework Convention on Climate Change, to actually make sure that countries are committing to their goals of, you know, cutting emissions of greenhouse gases and, you know, moving from fossil fuel use to at least attain a future where we're not looking at extreme weather events all the time. And that's still a long way to go, because we've set ourselves for 2050, and it's not far away. by then we need to make sure that our numbers are going down in terms of all the events that are resulting from, human-induced climate change. But also in a related story, we do have evacuations that have now been, put in place. That is for people in the mid-Atlantic island of Portugal. And this area so far has been hit by about 2,000 quakes, that is since Saturday, and those were recorded in São Jorge in the Azores archipelago region, also areas of Luiz Silveira, where you're seeing in that image where there is that red color and yellow, that is where the earthquakes so far are, and these are getting to a much larger extent. Now, the fears of the earthquakes are within the magnitudes of between 1.6 and 3.3, and that could even trigger a stronger tremor or a volcanic eruption, and that is according to the same Volcanic Surveillance Center in Portugal. Now, these are warnings that people be evacuated before a big earthquake hits, and this island has actually not had such, extents of earthquakes since 1980. And they're saying this could cause severe damage. So they're urging authorities to already get the evacuations in plan to make sure that people are evacuated from this Portuguese island. Already they did ban, from yesterday, there was a ban on people traveling to the area because there are at least 2 tourist centers that people always go to, especially with Archipelago Center, which has been well known for people going to the mid-Atlantic. And this is what, authorities are worried about. So far, even the people that are on the island, that is 8,400 people are already, being planned to be evacuated from the area to make sure that even when the volcanic eruption comes in, at least there is no one is dying from this. So we hope that that actually happens in real time, because obviously with nature, you cannot imagine how much such a volcanic eruption could take up. It could take up the whole island. And also considering the fact that they are now saying this increase in seismic activity could actually be detected in even far areas of Spain. So that means that this is to a larger extent, which is why authorities are anticipating that this could actually get them in a bad place. So we do hope that evacuations are done by today, and maybe there is a plan to have people away from this place. But also in another story across New Orleans yesterday, there was a strong tornado, and that is to the eastern side of New Orleans. This did move across the area, and so far the reports that we have from some of the news reports coming through from Reuters, from CNN, are indicating that there has been a confirmation of 1 person who died from this tornado, and 8 people still in critical conditions with this tornado. Now, it did sweep through the area, that is the eastern side of New Orleans, and we are also getting reports that a lot of structures were damaged from this tornado, and it was associated with really strong winds, which even moved, all the debris across the road, and also destroyed property, cars, infrastructure. By least so far, the number that we have in terms of who died from this is 1, and 8 people still in critical conditions. And we do hope that, there is more news on at least, regarding early warning in terms of such kind of events. Because you see, with weather events, there is always going to be a sign of what is likely to happen. Now, the only challenge that we've had with humanity and science is that people take longer to get out of harm's way when it comes to weather warnings. When you put out a warning, because I do know that before that happened, actually, there was a warning on likelihood of this hitting, but there are always people who wait and like, maybe it won't affect me. And that is where you put yourself in harm's way. We've also seen it here in Uganda when we give out seasonal forecasts, and people are reluctant to take this information. So they're like, okay, we'll follow our traditional knowledge of when the rains come, or they're saying it could be associated with landslides. They want us to move from this area, but people do stick around, and that is how we get to extreme weather events. So my advice is, when you get weather information, please take it seriously. When you get warnings, take it seriously, because this could have implications when even consider you losing your life because of extreme weather, yet there was a warning in place. Well, moving on from that, we want to take a look at the weather that is happening across the country for this morning, and we'll tap in red directly into a satellite that is coming in from UMIZAT over Uganda. It looks like we've started off with quite a clear morning across most areas. We have mostly sunny skies. We're looking at the northwestern part of the country, quite sunny for this morning. That is across West Nile, parts of western Uganda as well, with gray colors there. Those are open skies, indicating a sunny morning over there. We also have some clouds moving in across the Karamoja region, and that is right in those white colors. That is indicating quite cloudy conditions, but most of those will be, clearing as the day continues. Now, we do have a rain system that is starting from the Lake Victoria with those red colors and orange, but looks like that is still south of Lake Victoria, so it might take a while to get to most areas within the western parts of Lake Victoria, also within Kampala, Wakiso, Entebbe. We could be looking at those rains much later in the day, but for now, it looks like this system is still on the lake and mostly affecting the islands of Lake Victoria. But we do expect it to continue into the day, and that is what is likely to bring us rains across here. Otherwise, it's still quite a pleasant morning across several places. We'll also go ahead and take a look at the forecast that is coming in from the Uganda National Meteorological Authority and see how we're faring, especially in terms of temperatures. The western side of Lake Victoria, we're forecasting that is intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, starting off with a warm 28 for this morning. Now we look at the central part of Lake Victoria. We do have Kampala, Wakiso, Entebbe and Mukono. We're forecasting isolated showers that will be coming in at a warm 27 degrees centigrade, and likely that will continue into the afternoon. Nambarara, Ibanda, Bushenyi, Rubirizi, we're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, starting off with a warm 26 as well, but we do expect rains to develop later in the afternoon. That is across southwestern Uganda. Now across Mount Elgon Highlands, we're forecasting sunny intervals, also starting off with quite a sunny morning at 27 degrees centigrade. We do expect those to continue into the afternoon with mostly sunny conditions. The eastern side of Lake Victoria, like I mentioned, we do have that system that is coming in from Lake Victoria that will be bringing in a little bit of rains over that area, starting off with a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Now, across the eastern side of Uganda, we have Soroti, Katakwi, Amuria, Kumi. We are looking at also intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, and that will be starting off with a hot 29. Now, temperatures will only be getting higher in the afternoon. We could be looking at the lower 30s. Across Ruwero, Wobblen, Sibururi and Nakaseke, we're also forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, starting off with a warm 29. That area is getting warmer, and we could be looking at rainy conditions later in the afternoon. That will be much later, and also temperatures could actually remain around 29 or even the lower 30s for that area. Now, central northern Uganda, we have Gulu, Kitgum, Padel and Jumani. We are forecasting intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, and that is also starting off with a warm 29 degrees centigrade over there. Well, it looks like we're actually getting warm weather for today, and much of that is attributed to the fact that we've just had equinox, and that was on the 21st, 22nd for different areas. And usually that is, makes most of those rain-bearing clouds actually lag behind by at least 14 days. So that does affect, the weather conditions across the country. But we're hopeful that when much more of these systems continue to develop, we will have more of the rains coming through. Now, Philo, we did have a question this morning asking people about their expectations from the new RDCs. I'll tell you one thing I expect from these offices, because I think there has been a lot around corruption in the RDC's office. Now, for me, I want to see plans on how these offices are handling corrupt cases around, the RDC office. This is something that I want to see really with the changes coming through. But, we have other people who have also given in their opinions. Take us through that.
Oh, well, we have Ronald over here who actually thinks that Mr. Hudu Hussein had done quite something significant in that is Kampala city. But, oh, well, we're yet to see that he will probably extend the same work, the same hard work to Yumba district where he was relocated to. Now, of course, the feedback we still expect it from you. And the question maybe just to remind you is, what are your new expectations from the RDCs and the RCs that have been recently reshuffled? Well, a couple minutes ago, we were still having conversations and discussions about the ongoing, of course, that expo that is happening in Dubai. And of course, it has a lot to do with ICT and innovation. And well, quite interesting. Uganda as a country has representatives there. Of course, a delegation to see what's happening there, but also quite a number of people, about 5, who are definitely showcasing quite some interesting things. Now, earlier on, I was talking to Samuel Sendeno, who a reporter with UBC, who was giving us the feel and giving us, also telling us how the prospects for Uganda as a country are standing. And this is well because Uganda, we have decided to position ourselves as Africa's innovation powerhouse, which I would actually say is a very big step for us, especially when it comes to achieving our development goals. And like I said earlier on, for any country to be able to achieve some of these goals, development in technology is very important. Samuel, thank you for joining us once again. I hope this time around you can get me. Samuel, can you get me? Samuel? Samuel, can you get me? Oh, well, he's in Dubai over there, quite some interactions over here and there. Our apologies, and we are on it to make sure that we get the feel of what is happening in Dubai, especially concerning this Dubai Expo 2020 ICT Innovation Week. Now, it's been happening for quite a while, and it's going to be running until the 31st of March, and a whole lot has been showcased, and he did previously tell us that we've had over 200 countries that are showing quite some moves that and progressions they're making in the world of technology. So definitely Uganda, we are also headed on that journey. We are there. We're trying to be creative. We're tapping into our creativity, but also innovativeness. And I mean, this cuts across, by the way, everyone and all age groups. Usually we have a mentality that maybe the young people are the ones who are supposed to do this, or maybe the extremely old people are supposed to do this. Well, we beg to differ, and definitely anybody and everybody can be creative, can be innovative. And I mean, look at the private sector. That is where we are supposed to shine the most. Creativity levels have to be at about 100% innovative. And you know what that comes with? You need to step out of your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, there is something you're bringing to the table, and there is something huge you are definitely trying to, of course, try to deliver to Uganda and also contribute to that economy. Well, that is it. And we had quite a delegation that was there to represent us, and clearly it is a big deal. We did have quite the state ministers for ICT, and of course that is Kabyanga Godfrey Baluku and Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao, who are also there to oversee what Uganda is bringing to the table. Earlier on, we actually did also show you the permanent secretary of the Ministry of IC quite talk to us and tell us what this actually means for Uganda, because platforms like this are really international. They are cross-border. So definitely, if we don't take on opportunities like this, clearly it shows that well, we're lagging behind. But lucky for us, Uganda is actually grabbing on more initiatives and more platforms, plus also more opportunities like this to make sure that the world knows us. We have a lot that we can actually show off. Well, thank you for joining us once again, Samuel. I hope you can get me. Can you hear me? Oh, well, so, just to carry on the conversation we were having a couple of minutes ago, I would actually love to hear from you the feel of what is happening, considering that this expo is actually running till the 31st of March, 2022. What is it like? How does it feel? For a person who is in Uganda, how would you describe what is happening over there to this person?
Well, yeah, good to have you back. And just the bulletin, the expo bulletin has just dropped in, and they're saying that it has attracted in just this week, the expo has attracted 1.8 million people, and the visits in total for the expo, it has been running for 6 months. They're saying 21 million visits. So that points to how this expo has been embraced and how different people have decided to come and take part and see what different countries are showcasing. Uganda earlier Like I said, I was saying earlier that there were themes which were lined up. There was a theme of agriculture, and maybe the point I had missed, the Ugandan coffee is one, at the Ugandan pavilion, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, has baristas who have been stationed here for all this period the expo has been running. And one of the key attractions of the Ugandan pavilion is the UCDA booth. They're giving out free coffee, brewed, free Ugandan coffee, and that coffee aroma. I was earlier talking to a colleague from the New Vision, and he was saying, and he carried with that story that the Ugandan coffee aroma has attracted many to the Ugandan pavilion. And true to it, the lines were snaking as far as my eyes could see. And so these themes, these numerous themes, it's not only for Uganda, but different countries. A country like Democratic Republic of Congo. So then they set out to promote or showcase their mineral potential. And they have all the minerals from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And they are tapping into investors who are, in a way, looking at investing in the line.
Oh, well, we apologize for that, but at least we get a feel. And I can tell you, at least I know that the coffee is actually doing well. Ugandan coffee, I could say that is our forte. Definitely our coffee industry is progressing regardless of any shortcomings. I hope we can quite get very many other prospects and, of course, in different fields and different sectors of Uganda to have a balanced development all over. But also it's about the time where we get to discuss quite some issues of national importance, and that is where Robert Kirabo comes in. And definitely from the leader that I know that we're going to be talking about, of course, that is empowering communities to fight crime, and of course with a representative from the Uganda Police Force. Robert, good morning once again.
A lovely morning to you, Philo. Thank you so much for keeping of course, Ugandans aware. This is what our morning show does. Purposely is to ensure that every morning we update you of what is happening. You're an informed person because you made that right choice to start your day with a station that keeps you really informed with what you need to know as you go about business during the day.
Well, as before we actually delve into this Good Morning Uganda agenda, I would love to remind you of the poll question. What are your new expectations from the RDCs and the RCs that have been recently reshuffled by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni? Of course, your feedback is a #1 priority for us here at Good Morning Uganda. And also, just to remind you, we are streaming live. That clearly shows you that you can get us anywhere, in your car, in your house, in your kitchen, in your office. Definitely you'll get all the information, because we always seek to inform, indeed, inspire, and also entertain you. Now, of course, after GMU agenda, do expect quite some sports highlights that will be coming in from Ruben, and that is much later on in the hour. And thereafter, we'll be having GMU Extra. Well, have yourselves a wonderful Thursday morning. I am Philomena Mastiko.
When COVID came, it felt like it destroyed everything my mom had built. She was ready to let go of her dreams. But when one door shuts, a window opens. She grabbed her last kamani and took a leap of faith. She refused to give up. So with a bit of daring and grandma's secret recipe, her business was back. And not just bigger, beyond her wildest imagination.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, Visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you, or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector.
In 2012, we started working with the Total E&P until 2019, where we worked on the replacement houses, and we delivered 30 houses for the people who were being relocated from the industrial area. We are also working with the Total Energies on over 10 kilometers of roads that we are undertaking. There's a ripple effect. We are getting the services of labor within the communities, materials. Total Energies has been of great assistance to our development. We've expanded our plant and equipment, we've developed our human resources, and we've also improved our management skills.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in Africa